Help support Friendo Club by going to patreon.com/Stephen Larson or clicking join at youtube.com/Stephen Larson. Access to bonus episodes, question threads for the Going In Raw podcast, and entry to our monthly wrestling predictions challenges. Join the Friendo Club today. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And we're here to talk about your hot takes over the controversial footage shown last night on AEW Dynamite to build to their pay-per-view dynasty. Oh, boy. So that's what we do here at Friendo Club. We look at hot takes.
Hot takes. You know, hey, now that here's a hot take. I'm not looking at these hot takes on my phone, so I can actually read them.
Hey, look at that. See? Your day's looking up already. Let's go ahead and dive into it. I like this one because it's an anti-hot take. Odd Lifestyle says the biggest hot take there is no hot take. Everyone is aware that this would be and was an awful idea. Even the best outcome of this situation is having a neatly polished turd that you serve on a silver platter to your viewers.
I don't disagree with this. I felt like walking into this, sitting down in this very chair I'm sitting in right now, watching Dynamite, I had a good sense what I was going to get. Yeah. And I ended up getting about 85% of that. Between the various accounts of what happened backstage during the all-in brawl, I hesitate to even call it a brawl, altercation. We all had a pretty good sense of what was going to be on that video, you know, and what was there was more or less what we had been told was going to be there.
I was a little disappointed with the lack of like more cameras in the area.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, man, you're running a wrestling show. You had that all access show. I thought for sure. And then plus the trailer gave us like 4 frames of what looked like a behind the curtain situation.
Is there another altercation they have video footage of? We're not aware of.
Whoa. Hot take. There's more footage out there. All right.
Different footage of a different brawl.
An alternate angle or, a whole other brawl.
Whole other thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Brawls in.
There we go. Brawls out.
With Fear Gaming says it's not really a hot take. I like that now hot takes are just, this isn't a hot take, but says it's not a hot take, but if Brawl In was such a minor scuffle, I wonder if Brawl Out was also made to be more than it really was.
So we've had accounts of chairs being thrown, people being bitten.
Brawl Out seems like they did go all out with the brawl aspect of it.
But here's the thing. I would bet from the time the first punch is thrown till it being broken up, it probably was no more than what? 30
seconds?
Yeah, 20 seconds I was going to say at first, but I was being generous.
Yeah.
We're not talking about a massive protracted melee, you know?
Yeah.
Chair thrown, Nick Jackson got hit with it. Kenny gets bit in the arm.
Like one of those,
Punk probably throws a couple wild punches before someone comes in and starts breaking it up.
Like a false count anywhere that goes like, all through the concourse. Didn't seem like it was that. Probably like a quick, they bust in, a chair is thrown, a man is bit, a dog bites a man, and then like that's kind of, like a wayward punch is thrown. That's kind of it.
Yeah, that seems kind
of
it.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Aaron David here says, hot take.
Hot take.
The use of actual backstage footage was an attempt at a meta heel move or commentary with the Young Bucks blaming FTR, but it massively backfired with people legitimately shunning AEW in praising Punk. Now, the latter half of this hot take is not universal. I've seen some people shunning Punk and praising AEW, or at least shunning Punk. I haven't seen a whole lot of praise for AEW for actually putting this footage out there on TV. The line about... or where Nick says, oh, this is all the FTR were the mastermind behind this whole thing to get in our heads. And Matt's like, you can't say that. Yes, that kind of felt like very pointed, call it meta if you want, commentary.
Yeah.
On broadly leaks to the media, and maybe a little more specifically about a certain somebody.
Yeah.
CM Punk leaking stuff to the media.
It's kind of funny how like the concept of meta storytelling has, sort of infiltrated the popular culture of narrative fiction over the past 5-10 years or so. And yet in wrestling, it's always been around. It's called a work shoot.
Uh-huh.
Ahead of
the curve, wrestling was.
Yeah, exactly. JMC, next time some movie shows up, it's like, oh, like Charlie Coppin, he's getting all meta with stuff. No, he's working himself into a shoot, brother.
Shoot, brother.
JMC here says Tony Khan could do with watching a Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins at Mania. The story of a man who loses something he worked really hard for and did really good work to get because he can't get over. CM Punk, he might actually learn something from, the allegory of Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre that's being told.
And where Drew McIntyre has a blind spot to his own faults and weaknesses, maybe by watching that, Tony Khan can recognize his own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because sometimes, that's the beautiful thing about art. It teaches us about ourselves.
Right.
And
yeah.
If Tony Khan, anybody watches that match and realize, oh, shoot.
Wow.
I've been completely unaware.
It's me.
Yes, of the issue, and the issue all along has been me.
Yeah. It's like a Taylor Swift song. I'm the drama, it's me.
I think that's sarcastic when she says that.
Fucking dude, I don't know. I haven't. I know that one line from that song, and that's like the only. Besides,
I'm
"Shake
the
It
problem,
Off,"
it's me. It's from Anti-Hero, right?
I don't know. Is it?
I think so.
You tell me.
Yeah, I think
Besides "Shake It Off," that's literally the only. She's like the biggest pop star on the planet, and I'm owed. I don't know nothing about it.
The only reason I know anything about her music is because I have children.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's it.
Diabetic Man says, I actually liked the promo the Young Bucks did before and after the footage, but showing the footage was the biggest self-sabotage TK could have done. You know what? I don't disagree. You made a good point during our podcast of this, and that was they could have told this. That could have been a really decent story beat without awkward, silent, grainy footage of this incident. There was no in-story reason for them to show it, but plenty of reason in-story for them to be affected by it. There was just no need to show it.
It's interesting where they say that incident is what distracted them during their match versus FTR, leading to their loss, and yet by showing the incident itself, it undercut the effectiveness of that story beat.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Because you watch that, and you're like, all right, 6 seconds, I understand. Things much shorter than that could distract you. But like if they were there.
Well, they also said, I get that, but they also said that it's nothing more than a high school.
They even their own words, they kind of minimize the.
They say, but the
itself.
Ramifications of it,
which I get,
can appreciate.
If the thought was due to this altercation, Punk walks out, that match he and Joe ain't happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's a major hole on not just your wrestling show, but the largest wrestling show. Not just for AEW, but in potentially ever.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, in that respect, yes, completely understand that something as seemingly minor as that, as short as that, could have a massive effect. Yeah, absolutely.
Like if you're a boss, not a CEO, but if you're an EVP, you're the boss around there, one of the bosses, and this happens, it's like, oh man, now I can't really focus on my match because I've got HR paperwork I got to fill out now.
You think the Young Bucks fill out HR paperwork?
In storyline, do they? That's the question. In reality, God, no.
No.
In reality, EVPs just mean they're consultants.
Yeah, they toss around creative ideas.
Miss Dylan JH says, and this is interesting. I like this because, again, it goes into the human Tony Khan.
Human.
I can't imagine the mindfuck of being Tony Khan watching WWE doing this well because, as a massive fan of pro wrestling, I'd be loving the product, talking about Tony Khan. But as their competitor, I'd be mad they're doing so well. Maybe this whole incident is a result of him finally snapping under the emotional turmoil and making quite possibly one of the worst, and it continues on. But I get the point here that just that first part I think is interesting. I don't know about him snapping, but there's got to be something weird about you come up as a fan of pro wrestling, and of course WWE's the big end-all be-all, and being a message board guy, he was probably big on the Attitude and the Ruthless Aggression era, and then things kind of started getting kind of lame for WWE because of Vince. But you turn to other things. You turn to Ring of Honor, New Japan, et cetera, et cetera. But still, like, you're a big fan of pro wrestling, so this should be an era that you're really celebrating. Vince is gone. The product is good, but I'm the competitor, and now I kind of can't get out of my own way. That's got to be a complex situation for this guy, Larson.
Yeah, assuming that he's aware of that.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah. As, if the analogy to Drew McIntyre is one that we can kind of discuss.
Yeah.
Could be entirely possible. That's Tony Khan's blind spot.
That could be. Yeah, it doesn't know.
Don't know. Don't know.
Somebody needs to tell him. Eastside here says Hook was the smartest person in that video, but he just stood there, took it all in, and kept on moving. He's like, my name is Bennett. I ain't in it. My name's Hook. I'm just going to look.
It's good. On the spot, too.
DKC Return says, WWE's history is proof that AEW can turn this around. They're in their billionaire Ted era now, but who knows? They might find their own Stone Cold and their own Attitude era here soon. One can only hope.
Yeah, I guess one could hope. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, one could hope.
I've often said, the fortunes of pro wrestling creative, it's peaks and valleys. And right now, I think honestly, like they are like kind of maybe on the start of getting to a peak, but like this sort of was a valley situation.
Yes.
They need to continue peaking.
Dr. St. Clair says this made Copeland's promo last week entirely irrelevant. This fueled more negative BS.
Yeah, Cope's got to not be happy about that.
I would. I mean, he's an old vet. Maybe he takes it in stride, but I would think, Tony Khan. I know Cope said he came out there at his own behest, but you'd think Tony Khan's like, hey, we're gonna give you some promo time, put the company over.
Yeah, right.
And Cope goes out there and does that, and is transparent what he's trying to do. But I mean, I guess to a degree, he really made put forth no illusions that he was doing anything other than that.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And then just for a week later, to get into the pettiness of all this. Yeah, it's. I would imagine it's gonna be like, well, that kind of sucks. We move on.
I like to think that he's just looking at his phone, open up the, whatever Bank of America app he uses. And he's like, oh, let me see if the check cleared. Yeah, we're good. Y'all do what you want to do.
Exactly. You mean do a rah-rah speech for AEW? Sure. Oh, you're showing the footage. Check clear?
Yeah.
Not my problem. Dan the Animal says Tony Khan victim blame a person that was assaulted under his watch, and then he buried them weeks before they returned from an unjust suspension.
I mean, if you really want to take this in a glass half full approach, Jack Perry, he's really living up to that scapegoat, gimmick. That gimmick was perfect for him because that dude got taken off TV for 7 months. His name was ran through the mud. He didn't do nothing except for say, hey, do something about it. I think what he was talking about was HR paperwork,
Oh,
do you have
a complaint?
You filed a complaint with HR.
Paperwork, and then CM Punk goes with Tony Khan. It's like, if you're not going to handle this, you're not going to like how I handle this.
Yeah.
And Tony Khan maybe said, Phil, there's a way to handle it.
Right.
Go to HR.
Yeah, right. They've got them outside their office. There's a whole thing of them.
Damn it! I went to HR. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Well, elevate the complaint level to the next highest level. Urgent.
They're like, look, Phil. We have 50 separate papers. 20 are from Miro, 30 are from Malachi. The Malachi ones are easy. It's just all asking for a singles match. Miro ones
those are easy to get through.
Miro one is just, talking about a lot of God stuff, which is trying to wrap our heads around.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's not like there's a huge stack of complaints and paperwork in HR. Yeah. I would think, especially CM Punk, he's got his own show, Collision, at this point. Mm-hmm. His complaints would move the headline.
Oh, yeah, you would think so. He's a very important person, or was until they fired him. Dan the Animal. Sorry, you already got that one.
I just read that one.
You just read that one. That's the one you just read.
Just read. You want this one from Dr. Howie Feltersnatch. Says, hot take, one positive I will say in this week. Made me watch the show and realize that opening package may be the best in wrestling right now. Probably won't be watching next week, though. Yeah, the Dynamite Open is really, really good.
It is awesome. They did a stellar job with that. Yeah. And on that positive note, that's what AEW they need to do. They need to work on the positives.
Forward. Like yeah, you got a ghost in there?
Hot take. Getting attacked by a bug.
Oh, dear.
Anyways,
I felt I gave everything I had in the podcast. I'm running on fumes right now.
No, you did great on this hot takes. This is exactly what we need to be doing. So you did good. I did good. We did great on the podcast. Make a lot of money from this, and then we move on. No need to release the real footage here at Going in Raw /Friendo Club.
Well, what if we need a short-term pop in numbers?
Then get that footage ready. We'll manufacture some. We'll do the
go.
Sora AI. That's going to do it, everybody. Let us know your hot takes in the comments below. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and we'll see you around.
Goodbye.